This is a Tab Media special report coming out of Judson College in Marion, Alabama. I'm Jennifer Rash, and joining me is Stephanie Woodard, a junior transfer student at Judson College. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Miss Rash.
Okay, so you're there on campus right now, correct?
Yes, I'm actually in my dorm room right now. So we're here. We're here.
All right, all right, all right. So let's see. Let's figure out who you are. So Stephanie is a junior transfer student. Tell me what that means.
Yes, ma'am. So I actually came in as a sophomore last year
Okay,
during the spring semester. So
okay.
I came right before the COVID craziness, and I think I was only here for maybe 2 months before we got sent home because of COVID.
Oh, wow.
But what that means is I just transferred in from another institution, and I came in as a sophomore, and basically I started my program areas here at Judson. Before Judson, I got some under what just
Core,
some
core
recs.
classes. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. Okay, okay. So you did your freshman and part of your sophomore year then?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then those transferred in. Judson is located in Marion, Alabama, which is in the western side of the state, kind of, and is an Alabama Baptist college and private university, really, private school. So, what was it that drew you to Judson? Why transfer?
Well, I actually needed to transfer, but I put it off because I was looking for just the right religion department for me. A religion department that would stretch me, grow me, and also I wanted to be able to talk to people in a comfortable environment. And Judson gave that to me because our class sizes are so small. And on the outside looking in, I never thought I would choose Judson just because of its placement. And the all girls thing was not appealing to me at first. But then I got here and I was like, wow, these women are empowered with what they're saying and they know what they're talking about. And it's because of the faculty that they have and the environment they have to share what they know. And I wanted that. So after my preview day and after my private tour and talking and sitting with faculty and staff, I decided that that day that I was going to apply to Judson. And I sure did. Right before I came home, I applied and I've never gone back. So
You mentioning that, I've heard so many people talk about how Judson is this kind of secret, hidden, tucked away in Perry County. You know, there are lots of e- economic issues in that area, and so it's like you said, it's not necessarily a booming metropolis where people are attracted by um, maybe just the activity that would be going on. But what have you found in Perry County since moving in that area and the people and the culture and all that's there?
oh my goodness. Well, for one, I am still learning Perry County, but it's a fun thing to do. I've gotten to know some of the people. I think that's my favorite part is that they see us Judson girls coming, whether it be to a restaurant or to the Dollar General or to us to church on Sunday morning, and they're like, "You're a Judson girl, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes." And then we begin making connections with community members who have a love for Marion and who have a love for Perry County. And it's a really cool thing. We just got a sticker actually. It's called, it says Love Where You Live.
Mm.
And that is so true for the people of Marion. You know, they don't care that they only have $1 General. They just love it and
They
they
should
love the
support it,
people,
right? Support it well.
support it well. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from them too.
Mm. I love that because a lot of times small towns or more rural areas are overlooked when there's a richness there and
Yes.
there's so much life and so many stories to tell and so many stories to find. I- do you have any thoughts on how you could encourage other young women to see the beauty that might be a little bit hidden that you might have to scrape and
Yeah.
uncover a little bit?
Well, the first thing I definitely would advise a young woman looking at a school in a rural area, I would say, first of all, go in with an open mind and pray to God that you're choosing a place for the right reasons. Because sometimes I feel like we get so caught up in choosing a school because that's where our friends are, or that's where, the fun is happening.
Mhm.
And for me, it's going to be as much fun as you make it. I tell the freshmen here that all the time because they're still trying to figure it out. And I'm an RA here in Kirtley with the freshmen. And so I try to tell them, I'm like, listen, if you just love where you live and find something good about it, find that community member that you can go to and ask the hard questions, find that space in Marion that you think is so beautiful and you want to watch the sunset, find the beauty where you are, because it's going to be as fun and as good as you make it, you know. So first of all, pray that that's where God wants you to be, and second of all, look for it, because he didn't put you there without a reason.
Well, what was it that sealed that deal for you? How did God just really make that clear?
Well, personally, I really had to go in with an open mind, like I said before, but I sat down at lunchtime and I talked to my faculty member, my advisor, who's currently my advisor right now. And she, for the first time, asked me questions that I didn't have answers to. And that scared the mess out of me. It scared me so bad, but I was like, now I've got to come back because I want to know the answers. And I'm still figuring out those answers. And sometimes she looks at me and she's like, you'll figure out in the next class next semester. Or, you know, she's like, you gotta wait. I'm gonna hold you on just a little bit longer. Or she'll say, you're gonna figure it out yourself. I don't want to give you the answer. And so I think that aspect is what brought me to Judson, the push educationally. But as far as Marion is concerned, I kind of jumped in when I got to Judson right away. I got involved with SGA and student ministries, which got me connected to organizations in town like Sowing Seeds of Hope and Love Is What Love Does. They are both community organizations that reach out to our community members, and they allow Judson girls to get involved by inviting us to these special events and showing us what service in action looks like. So I think that's where I fell in love with serving my community. It's probably just the small connections that I've made with Sowing Seeds of Hope and Love Is What Love Does.
There is a strong service learning environment there at Judson, from what I can tell. And that would be, the engagement would be so real because you are right there living and working with the people that you will also be learning how to serve with, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, you almost can't get away from it. I mean, which it's a beautiful thing. I say that, but the first week of school for the freshmen is we do Marion Matters, which is where they go out into the community for a whole day, and they immediately are introduced to the community, introduced to service, and our president stands up and says, "This is what Judson is about." And it is. And they are faced with many opportunities throughout their freshman year and throughout their 4 years here that they wouldn't have gotten at another school, to make those connections and network with people that are going to have their back whenever they do leave Judson.
Good. Now, there are a variety of majors there at Judson. You said you were focused on religion, is that correct?
Yes, I have a religion major, and I actually just added a history minor.
Okay. Well, tell us what you think about the education level. I know you're talking about how they're challenging you already, but what about the quality of just the teaching in general? How do you feel about it?
Oh goodness, it's the best the best teaching I've ever experienced. For the first time in my life, I have been so drawn into education that to my education that I don't want to give it up.
Oh, wow.
And so I started talking to my advisors and I was like, "Oh no, I want to go to grad school." And then I was like, "Oh no, what if I want to go to like get my PhD? I don't know. We'll see." And they're like, slow down, one day at a time. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but this is so awesome. And it's not because of my passion for school, because let me tell you, when I was in high school, it was just get on by. Even when I was at my other institution, I was just getting on by. But now that I have faculty who are pouring into me daily and who are trying to push me to be the best student I can be, I can't stop. So that's where I am where when it comes to Judson's education, it's the best I've ever received. So
And there's a tightness, I'm guessing, closeness because the number of student ratio with the teachers is really tight, right? So you really
yes,
do know your professors personally.
you really do. Yesterday, in fact, I went to one professor's office and she had three students in line to talk to her. I mean, some of it was about school and classwork, but most of it had to do with life. And then I went in and talked to her for about 40 minutes. And then I turned right back around and went to another professor's office, and he had a line. And it was the same situation, most of them just talking about life or needing some advice or whatever. And I said, it's okay. And we talked for about 5 minutes. And then I said, I'll come back later. So then I spent half of my lunch hour in there with him. And so it's just so true that the faculty are willing. I mean, he had to, he eventually had to eat, which I felt bad, but the faculty members are so willing to talk to us that once you do begin that relationship with them, they're going to fight for you. I mean, they're going to do what it takes to get you the best education that you need. And I really appreciate that.
You mentioned the all girl aspect. Tell
Yeah.
us what that's like. What is it? There's so few of those experiences now. So tell us what it's like to be in an all girl.
Oh gosh, I had no idea. I came from a co-ed institution and I was like, this is gonna be the most dramatic. There's gonna be a cry fest every night. Like, oh goodness, I'm not excited for this. And I showed up on campus and these women, I don't even want to call them girls, but these women just opened up their arms and brought me in. Like, I've been here all 4 years and they still tell me, they're like, Stephanie, we keep forgetting you're a transfer. And I'm like, I know, because I had to jump in so fast with y'all. I mean, they just brought me in like I was a family. And it's so true what people say about sisterhood. And I know it can sound cheesy, but Judson is the best bond of sisterhood that I've ever seen. I can go without seeing some girls for 2 weeks, but they're still going to check on me as soon as they do see me. And I think that's a really cool thing. But yeah, this bond it'll take us somewhere. That's for sure.
Do you feel like the upperclassmen, the women in the upper class are mentors to the ones coming in freshman and sophomore? Does that seem to happen naturally? Do you actually assign it? How does that work?
Oh yeah, so most of it is natural. I mean, we just have natural born leaders on this campus.
Yeah.
I may be a little biased. But on top of that, yeah, we have certain things in place to institute a relationship between upperclassmen and younger classmen. But I don't think that's abnormal from other schools. I think that's just something that you do to keep that position easy. Like, even for me as an RA, I go through a week of training before school starts to learn how to make discussions and form a community and within our residence hall, and get these girls to learn how to talk to one another, because it's called a lamp leader. So it's a leader who they have light bulbs who follow them around for their first week of school and ask them questions and try to get them acquainted with Judson. And then on top of that, the sports teams usually have their own way of having student leaders or team captains who are usually seniors or however they do it, and trying to get their athletes involved in learning how to just jump into doing what they love here at college. So yeah, there's plenty of ways to do it, but honestly, it happens pretty naturally. I mean, like I said, that sisterhood, the older upperclassmen turn into big sister mode a lot of times.
And then does that play out as people graduate and the alumni? Does there still seem to be that connection all the way through years and
Yeah,
years and years?
I would definitely say so. Past weekend, we had a hockey and family day,
Okay.
and it's a big tradition where we have the alum come back. And I played in the all-star team against the alum, and it was so much fun. And just getting to talk to them even between plays, or they would say, "That's my big sis," or "That's my little sis," and it was just so fun to watch them, or to recent alum to come back and hug their little sisters like they haven't seen them in over a year, and they just hug like no time has passed. And so that was a really beautiful thing for me to see those bonds still last even after years have gone by.
Right. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, what about, I was thinking about spiritual formation and your, how your faith develops on campus. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that your faith is automatically encouraged just from the things that we do that are special to a Christian institution. So, for example, we go to chapel every Tuesday. And from a student's perspective, sure, chapel can, when it's 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning and that could be a free hour for you, it can be hard to go to chapel.
Mhm.
But once you do, I just feel like that moment with God, that time set aside with you and God and your sisters and God, is so encouraging and pushes your faith, even if you don't see it right when it's happening. So
Mhm.
you may get a few weeks later and then realize something that somebody said in chapel, is in your life right then. But I still think that that special attribute of Judson, where we have chapel every Tuesday, pushes our faith. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, I'm also involved in student ministries. So you have opportunities as students to learn how to spread the gospel,
Okay.
even among your peers. And that's something that I have struggled with. I've gone on many mission trips and done many things to the glory of God, but doing it right where you are and with people who know you intimately can be a lot harder than doing it across the country.
Good point.
And that's where I've grown spiritually while being at Judson, is being a part of student ministries, because it can be really hard to do that with people who you see every single day. But
Good
yeah,
point.
there's plenty of ways to get involved and push your faith.
Um, well, do you feel like, I know you have potentially another year, but do you feel like Judson is preparing you for the world outside of a college bubble?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I feel like, oh gosh, I feel like I have grown in all areas of my life while being at Judson. So spiritually,
Mhm.
physically, even mentally, my education, all these areas of my life, I have grown and I have learned to best take care of my body, how to take care of my spirit and my mind. And I don't know, I just feel like as soon as I leave Judson,
Mhm.
it'll be A, because God is ready for me to leave, and B, because Judson has prepared me so well that I'm not going to have to worry. And I'll be able to have that voice that I talked about earlier, that Judson empowers women with a strong voice to talk about what they love and to do what they love for the glory of God. And I feel like I will have that whenever I leave Judson, whether it be at the end of this semester or at the end of the next year when I'm supposed to graduate.
All right. Well, Stephanie, it has been a joy to get to know you, and I'm excited about what God has in store for you going forward. So thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you so much, Miss Rash. I hope you have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Now off to
Yes.
class, right?
Yeah. Off to class. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
A few days after chatting with Stephanie, I caught up with Judson President Mark II to update us on the latest related to the current effort to save the school. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Tu.
Thank you, Dr. Rash. It is a pleasure to be back with you today to just give you a quick word on the college. I want to start by acknowledging our appreciation to the Alabama Baptist for its great work in helping us tell the story and get that word out. Through this effort, we also are in numerous other Baptist media outlets across the Southern Baptist Convention, where we're hoping other good Southern Baptists will view what I call your Alabama Baptist treasure as their Baptist treasures as well, in a very collegial fashion. We are an extraordinary place that does an amazing thing in the kingdom's work as we seek to help a young woman find not just her voice, but her Christian voice. And so we want to thank everybody for that, starting with the Alabama Baptist for its assistance in that process.
We've enjoyed being part of that, and we've enjoyed introducing you to many media outlets across the nation. So this has been definitely a good partnership. So okay, so today is March 18, and we are at the 3-week mark to the goal. The deadline for the goal is April 2nd. So update us and tell us how you're doing.
We surely will. As the materials that we have presented have indicated, we are working to understand what our support will be for next year. We have set a goal, our trustees have set the goal of understanding that we can have support for $5 million in the next fiscal year. That's June 1st through 31. And we, in the first 2.5 weeks of that, we've raised almost 20% of that support, just short of $1 million so far in those who have written or called to say we can count on them to contribute X number of dollars in our fiscal year. We're very grateful to a number of different constituents in accomplishing that. Our board of trustees is very productive in making their pledges to help us accomplish this. We have reached out, obviously, to our alumni who love their school and know what a tremendous difference it made in their lives. And so they want to help make that difference in the life of another young woman. They have pledged to this campaign very aggressively already and supportively. And as was the case in our December effort to raise enough funds to have the spring semester started, we've received information from people that we never knew before. We believe this is an important part of the reach of the kingdom of God that needs to be understood. What we're doing here isn't limited to our borders. It is truly an effort that reaches out across the state and the nation and the world. It's always my joy to remind our students that when they graduate, they're one of the top 6% of the most educated people in the world. And if they understand themselves to be a child of God and called by the name of Christ, that takes them down to 2% of the world's population, truly Christian world leaders that are accomplished here. And so people have acknowledged that, and people that we did not know about before have responded to seek to help us accomplish this very important goal.
Wow, I know you're just getting to talk to so many different people in all of this, and we already mentioned the promotional efforts you're using through the Baptist media outlets and all. Are there any particular just highlight moments that have stood out in these last couple of weeks as you've really dug in to go for this goal?
Several of our donors who have contributed significantly in the past have just amazed us with additional efforts and pledges of gifts that we're so very, very excited about. Just students not losing heart is also a very encouraging matter. I know you just had an opportunity to speak a day or two ago with Stephanie Woodard, and she's such a delight. And she is representative of almost every student on this campus who is upbeat and looking forward to how God will work through this effort and not only allow them to continue their education, but futures of generations of Judson students as well. We had a trustee travel to another state to talk to an individual just this week about the opportunity of engaging. This is one of those people that we didn't know about, and his name surfaced through this possibility. And so we're excited about seeing how those things will work. We've also had the opportunity out of the blue to participate in other media announcements, not through commercial radio and television in the Montgomery market, but also Alabama Public Radio through the Tuscaloosa market. It will be airing a report as well soon. So the word is getting out. This is an important part of the state, and we are anxious to see how we can continue to be a part of not not only the economic reality of this part of the state, but as I mentioned on so many occasions, the kinds of things that God can choose to do through the life of a young woman who is dedicated to living her life by a biblically informed Christian worldview.
Mm. Well, Dr. Tu, thank you for updating us. For all of you who may want more information, there'll be a link in the show notes to give you some background as well as to find out more about how to participate. So that link is judson.edu/all-in. So that's the goal. Dr. Tu, it was great to catch up, and we will look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thank you again, Jennifer.